Crippling cyber attacks are one of the ways Iran may retaliate against the United States to avenge last week's killing of its top military commander. Joining us this morning is cybersecurity expert Ed Dubrovsky. Good to have you with us.
Good morning.
Good morning. The Department of Homeland Security issued a warning to American businesses and companies that operate infrastructure to be on alert for cyber attacks. Although they said there is no credible threat at the moment, they have also enhanced their own monitoring at the Department of Homeland Security. What would those potential cyber attacks look like?
So I'm actually surprised. I've seen that notice. This is nothing new, to be honest. Iran is likely the number 4 nation from a scope perspective, number of attacks that we've seen in a number of years now. So it's nothing new. And from an attack perspective, I think businesses should be aware that Iranian groups are typically very focused on attacking applications, web systems. So they need to be on alert, and they should have been, to be honest, for a while now.
What would those look like? Would a website go down? Would you not have access? Would things be hacked? What specifically would these attacks look like?
We've seen one example, and it's a very small example, where a website was defaced in very recent past.
This is the one with the bloodied images of President Trump?
You got it. And then there's no real way to really say this is associated to Iran or a group that sympathizes with the situation. But we are seeing an uptick over the last 2 years now in Iran originated type of attacks. So they have a signature that we can take a look at and say that looks like an Iranian type of an attack.
Why would Homeland Security focus specifically on businesses that deal with infrastructure, electricity, water, things like that? And what would that kind of cyber attack look like?
Right. So I mean, critical infrastructure is a high-value target, right? So we need to protect it regardless of whether it's Iran, China, Russia, North Korea trying to attack those targets. And they do on a regular basis, right? The thing is that these type of targets will also hit the media and will further the Iranian, propaganda machine, essentially. So we need to be careful. We need to protect those infrastructure, not to mention human life.
So from a civilian perspective, so would that mean what, my lights would go out, or what would happen?
Potentially. There could be impact on lights going out. If they successfully attack water filtration systems, there could be impact to that as well. We've seen attacks on hospitals in recent past. So there's definitely an uptick of attacks against critical organizations that deliver critical services to us.
You've mentioned the top 4 countries being Russia, China, North Korea, and Iran for cyber attacks. Number four. And they've beefed up their cyber warfare. What have we done on the Canadian side to beef up our security, and is it enough?
So I know that the government is very well protected in terms of cyber attacks. So they have a lot of funds. They're investing in personnel and resources and so on. That's great. The problem is with the commercial entities. Typically, commercial entities are left on their own to fend for themselves. Yes, there's some support from government organizations, but it's not enough, right? And the problem isn't so much of lack of funding. It is, in a way, but it's also lack of expertise. So if you're working at let's say, a hospital or a utility company, and you don't really know what's happening out there from an attack perspective, how can you truly defend your organization?
And you're more vulnerable. Ed Dubrovsky, thanks for coming in today.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. If you like this, be sure to subscribe here.
And you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.